Okay, welcome. So we should be live. So we are carrying on in this Zen pop-up with Natalie Mason's site. So for you guys that have seen the previous Zen pop-ups that we did, our first thing we did was we covered all the kind of questions to ask, and then we kind of put together a sheet where Natalie could look through. I looked at some examples of sites she liked the look of, looked at her current content. And then we're now moving into the phase where we're just starting to set the site up. So at this stage, you know, you don't work on the whole site and then get approval. You just like work on one page, get that page signed off for the font, the colors, these sort of things, and then you can move forwards with the other pages, safe in the fact that you know that you're on the right track. Now I put colors together, so I sort of worked out kind of colors that I was going to use. Natalie already said she wanted like pastel-y colors and these sort of things, so we worked with those. But what I didn't know was Natalie already had a brand color sheet, which obviously saves a lot of time. They're pretty much the same colors as I was picking, but slight offsets of them. Now, the other thing about Natalie is that she actually can use the system a little bit. So she set up another page where she's got, which actually I think is better than the original page that I set up. Remember, this is to get functionality. It's the functionality part that is the most important thing, really. We can always make the design look better later. And, you know, unlike a proper design branding job, I'm not going to spend weeks sending approvals back and forwards for this training series. So I put something together quick, and then it's just approved, and we can just go through it, and then she can change it or get a designer to come in, change bits later if she wants to. But the main thing is the site is functional. Right. So that being said, we are also moving forwards with the slower parts of the course, because Natalie is coming across from Teachable. So she has, I think, about 12 courses on Teachable. She's got some fertility, and then she's got the well-being. So she's got courses on 2 Teachable sites. So we're not migrating both lots across yet. What she's already done, what I asked her to do, is just so that you know how this is kind of working. I said send an email to support@zenler.com. Tell them that you want to migrate courses across from Teachable to, because we migrate from Teachable and Thinkific. You want to migrate courses from Teachable that you've got in your Teachable for one of the sites and bring that across into our new Zenler site. So because that can take a while, because a lot of people are probably asking for these sort of things and support are quite busy, it can take a little bit of time. So I've told her to do it now. And that way, when we're ready for the course parts, the courses will be in there. Or she can start working on the links and checking that the course content has come across quite a lot, that it's come across properly. So inside of a lot of her course content, she's got lots of text, and it actually references different places within the site, I think. So she's going to have to go through and change those within all of the courses. It doesn't automatically do it. So she needs to go through them. So another reason to get it across quickly, and she can be working on that as well. So what I want to do is set the style today, like just see if Natalie's happy, so I can refine certain bits. Natalie's done 2 page examples, and they're good. The only problem with them is there's a few issues with what she's actually done there. She's done the classic case of doing a design in Canva and then exporting the design out and putting it straight in the page as background. There's quite a few reasons why you wouldn't want to do this that I'll be explaining to you as we go through. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw up the Canva sheet that we're looking at, so we can just run through. Natalie's going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. So we will do that, but I'm going to share my screen and just quickly go through. Let me just present this before I share my screen. Just do a presentation. And like I said, Natalie's going to be joining us in about 5 minutes. All right, so this was the first thing that we said. So information provided by client to discuss. So we discussed all these side things, the site she likes the look and feel of, the niche, the difference between a one site or a multi-site. So she's got 2 areas. So it's discussed whether we do those 2 areas in one site or whether we split them into 2 sites. The conclusion was one site. And it's important to explain all of that stuff to her, which we did in the Zen pop-up, because she's got to give me the go ahead. Obviously, it's a massive thing if you're going from one site to 2, or you do 2 lots, because it's doubling up on the work. So I've given examples of how one site works and how multi-site works. We've covered all of this in the slides in previous Zen pop-ups, so I don't need to go into detail on any of that. Now we've got confirmation questions in here. And lastly, it's going to take us to this. Now, Natalie sent me this brand colors. So she's got colors here. Generally, I would expect these to give me hexadecimals so that I know what the colors are. So the hexadecimals are color breakdowns, percentages of colors to represent those. So she's given me those, which is really good. So I've got that to work to now. So, and I think she's putting her thing into the colors. I was setting things like the fonts inside of the pages themselves. Now, Natalie has seen this. She's seen the example. So when she comes on, she could just give me feedback straight away. So that means that I can just go straight into this and tell you what we've done. So the first thing I want to take you to is the website. So this is a homepage website. Again, in the Zen pop-up, I set up a holding page. And that holding page was just if people want to join, we can send them there. They can put their name and their email in, and they can just join. That way they're captured as leads, and we can then try to get them to come into one of the membership areas later. So I'm going to show you that quickly. Let me just share my screen again. and jump into here. So you can see we've got join us for the launch party with focus on fertility and well-being. So someone puts their name in there and their email, join the club, they'll be put in there as a lead and you can contact them later. So that's why I've done it. What that means for us is that because this is the home page, you can work on the other pages of the site and nobody's going to see them, because you don't want people to turn up on your site when it's unfinished, or if you've got like lorem text in there, if you're not sure you've used the wrong images, these kind of things, if things aren't linking properly, it could be a really bad experience. So the first thing I do is to, and you'll see this in the last ZEN pop-up that we did for Natalie, is when we build this and we show you how to build this page. So that's why we did that initial page to start us off. So then we went into the design of it. So I mocked up a quick logo. I don't expect Natalie to use it, but the logo's in there. So I'm just going to show you the pages that we've set up. Now, these are published pages. Generally, I would have these unpublished, but I wanted Natalie to be able to go in and see the pages, and she would have to be logged in. So I've published them. Just something to bear in mind before we go through this. So I'm going to take you into the site now. I'm going to have a look. And here's the admin. So these are pages here that Natalie has set up, which is really good. And this is the page. Notice this page, that's that home page. So to make it a home page, I just created that form. And then on the home page, I just connected to that contact form there. That sets the home page for logged out and logged in users. So if I go to pages again, that's the page that's showing us the home page. Okay. So I've changed it from the default page there. You can see I've unpublished. So up here, this is our first thing, our first trial for Natalie to look at. So this is what we come up with. So I did a quick logo in there. And you saw this if I was doing that page build, you saw me do all this stuff. So this was changed to, it's actually changed to a different color, but Natalie changed that top color, which is fine. You know, I'm going to leave it as that now. And we've got little mouse overs going to this kind of pink color and these sort of things. And then we've got this header in here. Now, this is a header that's just at the moment one image, but if it was approved, I would break this into live text, which I'm going to show going forward after we've talked to Natalie in a moment. Now, the other most important thing is on that home page, and this was the brief from Natalie. I want a site that's really simple to navigate. I've got these two areas. I just need my students to go into one or into the other, and not to be crowded with information on multiple courses over multiple categories. So the simplest way of doing it was to set a block like this up and to concentrate the color scheme in pink and reds for fertility, and for well-being go with greens. So that's what I chose. Now, then I was sent the color branding sheet here. So it's actually got these colors. So you might want to add to these colors anyway, Natalie, but they were the colors that were set, which I didn't know about. So that's why we went with this at the moment. So down the bottom here, we have the little bit. This is kind of how most of the page content's going to look. So my question today to Natalie, does she like it? Is this okay, this kind of block style? You know, is the font okay? The colors that are used for titles and these colors, I know the colors because she's changing the colors, but I know that she can work with the site. So I'm quite happy for her to go in and tweak the colors after I've done them. So these are my questions, like this block. How is this block? So this took us on because I showed this to Natalie over a week ago, because it's been a couple of weeks since we've run this. So I showed it to Natalie, and Natalie's gone in there and she actually made two mock-up pages for me, which is really, really wonderful. One here and one here. So I really like this one, which is version 3. They're both kind of the same. It's just the header image has changed. So we're going to look at that now. So this is what Natalie's put in here. Now, again, this is one image here. We have to be really careful about using text inside images, because if it resizes on a mobile, it'd be literally impossible to read. And also notice edge to edge here. It's not going edge to edge. It's just finishing before, which you might like as a feature, but I don't think that was Natalie's intention. Probably just a technical thing that she couldn't get. But what I do like is down here. Now, I know you're going to say, but there's 3 in there. Well, actually, Natalie wants 3 areas, right? We didn't cover that, but she wants 3 areas. So she set these blocks up. These look really nice. it's as clear as this because it's a nice lot of white space. She's left the About Me block pretty much the same as what I've got it in here, you know, which is cool. It's just changed a little bit. This has moved up the top and this has moved down the side. So I really like this. And then we've got the next one, which is this one here, which again follows exactly the same thing. It's just this part that is changing. So that brings us up to date. So what I need to do is when Natalie pops in, I'm going to need to talk to her and see what she likes about these and what she doesn't. And I want to explain to you that because we're mocking this up at the moment and we've used images in the page, like Natalie's used this image here and it's embedded in there, it means that if you bring the size down, you're going to notice that, you know, if I bring it right down here, it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller until it's not visible. Notice it going up and down, whereas our font size, look at our font size in here, our live font size. As I bring it up and down, it stays the same size. Do you see that? So this is the big problem with images that you can have happen if you have this stuff. It can, like this is live text. So if I bring it down, it's just going to see how it wraps like that. So it's responsive. So using images in here on this page can cause problems. And so what I will do is I do it as a mock-up. I'll do an image. You can see what I did for this. I did this image here, right? I never intended for this to be the final, you know, I just do it quickly in something like Canva. You guys can do this. Then I just export it out as an image and I dump it in the page because all I'm looking for is the, if the client likes it, if they like that flow of how it's looking. And I really don't want to start breaking this up and creating live text in here because it takes extra time. Why would I want to set this up so it's working all responsively when the client looks at it, and maybe I've spent an hour and a half, 2 hours doing that, and the client looks at it and goes, I don't like it. When I can just output an image, say, do you like it? No, I don't like it. Oh, that's all right. I'll just change it. Do you like this? Yes, I like it. And then you can turn it into that. So, but you can use images at this stage because we're mocking it up. Okay, we're just doing a draft, like a mock-up for you to look at to get approval on it. So all these things are real speed-saving tips to you. Now, of course, something like this where you can just put these blocks in, that's absolutely fine. I can go and change the colors or the backgrounds. But when I'm talking about big things like the top where images are on the right, everything's got to be responsive, then doing it as an image to start with is a good idea, but it shouldn't be the final thing, because you'll see that this will all be changed to live text later. So hopefully that is really clear for you. I can see that Natalie is in the house. Hi, Natalie.
Hello there.
So I've just been explaining about the process, what's happened so far, that, you know, you've contacted support. So support will migrate the courses across from one of your Teachable sites into the platform. So we're doing that in advance because that way we don't have to worry too much. Like by the time we get to, once the site is finished, then hopefully all the courses will be across and we can work on that side of things. I hope. So that's that. I've gone through the design and I've shown your examples as well, where you've put that image in the top. And what I'm saying today is we're just discussing how you feel about it, what you think should change. So what do you think?
So I love that I could see how you do the layout, and walking through just the way you work with the editor was super helpful because I never would have figured some of those things out. It would have taken a while to figure it out on my own. So seeing your vision of how it could come together and the imagery, and then thinking about my branding and what I've used for imagery really helped me kind of get more clarity. And I looked at some other websites for inspiration of other people who I might want to emulate. And so I kind of took your layout and dropped in different image ideas. And that may have been something that you said you were showing also earlier. So I like the general concept, the colors and feel I sort of had a slightly different feeling about, but I think those are all sort of like movable pieces, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're trying. I was saying to everybody that I sort of got your branding color sheet after I'd started putting it in, but it's funny that the colors I was selecting were kind of similar to the colors you've already got, which is a good thing. You know, what I would say is it's quite good, and I can see that you've done it, is trying to keep a color palette for each of the areas, because I think visually that's really makes it really clear for someone going in, especially as like some people will have bought into different memberships. So they'll be like, oh, I'm in the pink area, so I know I'm in the fertility area, or I'm in the green area, so I know I'm in the well-being area. So you get that kind of feel from each page. And I can see, you know, you've used image. That's why I used the colors behind the back. Let me just share, if you can chime in as I'm sort of sharing this as well. So yeah, so this was done in this color. So it's got this would be the same going through to different areas. But on saying that, I like this, you know, I really like this. So maybe use a color tint on this as a color, and maybe use a pinky under this. And then that could be a different color, or green, or, you know, so that you've got so when you go into those areas, we can use that as the main header in each of those areas. But I do like this. I can see that you've done here. I was talking to everybody about, like, we use this image in here as a placeholder. It's not the finished result, because one, we need to make sure that we've got live text in this area, not an image. Yeah, because of the size, because it won't scale.
Right.
And it won't be picked up by the search engines as easily either. And we want it to work responsively. So if you've got that text, when you start to reduce the screen down like it's on a mobile, it will then go underneath each other. Whereas what will happen with yours is it will go up and down. So if I just demonstrate, so we got there, you can see that as I'm bringing this down, this text is staying the same size, but your image is going, you know, and imagine on a mobile, it's like you can't see that anymore. So we break the image away from the background and we use live text on the top. But at this stage, we don't need to do that, because we're just mocking it up and seeing if we like something or not. So that's something that will happen in the next phase. So what I want to know is, which design are we going to kind of go with? We got I think it should be one of these ones. I don't think it should be my one. That just gave you the idea.
Yeah.
But I like this.
I think this is the one that's closest to the style right now that I want to go with. And then, you know, the details can be massaged in.
Yeah.
In the bottom picture, you can kind of see my general branding colors. And when I did that branding shoot, we kind of designed around the teal, the gold, and kind of nature tones. So that if I stick with that branding palette, then it matches the photo shoot, which is helpful. Everything naturally kind of pulls in together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing I love, Natalie. Natalie's got really, really lovely images, you know, look professionally took photographs. And this is a massive thing. Lots of people take really, really bad photos and they put them on. So this is really nice. Like, all the photos are really, really good inside here and work. So what about the body text copy? Do you like that style? Do you like that size?
I think so. I don't have a feeling about it. The fonts that you picked, I thought all were agreeable to me.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, but if you do need to tweak any, you could do that in the branding section of the site. So if you think, actually, do you know what, instead of later, I want to go with Calibri or something, you could flick it over and change it over. But it's good that we get it set now, because what I want to do next is, now this is the page that we're going to kind of base everything on. We'll talk about colors because what I'm imagining now is in each area we have a similar header like this, and it says fertility support, and then we have as we go to pregnancy, we have this image in here again as the header, and again following, so it follows all the way through, so it's very consistent. The style and the white spacing will be like this. So there'll be a lot. I know that was something that you were saying. You want it to feel like there's air and there's space around it, you know, so don't go over complicated with things. So I think if we keep it like that, it'll be really simple, but really clear for people to read. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Right, good. Okay, so that's what we need to do now. You've seen, guys, you've seen what's going on with the site. Natalie's done a really good job of doing those 3 areas. So because I've got 2 on the original, but Natalie wanted to put the 3rd area in there, so they've got a third area. So I'll set the page up. I'll leave it to you probably, Natalie, to when the courses come across, or when your courses, you can fill that area out. We can turn it off and on. So if you're not ready to do the pregnancy support area yet, you could turn it off, and then you could bring that block in later. I don't want you to have overwhelm. You know, I'd rather like build up. I'd rather you concentrate all of your attention to the fertility support area, because at the end of it, you'll then understand it all, and then you'll just be able to go straight through all the others. You won't need me to do it all for you. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going through it together. So Natalie has also watched the Zen pop-ups. Like, she wasn't on the last one when I did the build, and you notice she was talking about how she followed the videos and how she got to know Page Builder. So this is the experience that Natalie's getting as well. It's not just being designed for her. There you go, there's your site. You're learning as we're going as well. So that's a real plus. So I'm going to start working on the other pages. I want to finalize this start page, this home page. I'm going to start putting placeholder copy in there. So I will be corresponding with Natalie. I'll be saying, look, this page is done. Can you put the right copy in there? And she will be doing that and probably tweaking things as you go. Natalie, if you think something needs changing, just tweak it. The only thing I would say, if you're tweaking things, don't start changing things like the font sizes, because that otherwise we're going to start having inconsistencies. You can change the colors and consistently change them, but don't start changing font sizes. We'll discuss that, and we'll change them throughout the whole site, just so that it stays consistent throughout. Yeah, right. The other thing I'm going to do, and I'll put this in the video, is I'm going to turn off the public registration. So instead of people being able to go onto the site and register, remember, this is a membership site, and Natalie's also going to be selling courses. I personally, in my viewpoint on the open registration to a site, I don't see the point of it. Some people do, but I don't, because what it means is that someone could register for your site. They could just go to whatever your site name is, .com/register. They could register for your site, and then they become almost a student. So they see logged in content. Well, we don't want that. This is a membership site, so we want to lock it off unless people are paying money, or that you've let them in yourself. You've given them 100% coupon or something to let them in. But we certainly don't want someone just rocking up who we don't know and being able to log in and see logged in pages that may be private for only your members to see. So I'll be turning off the registration page so no one can publicly register. You can still log in, people can buy courses, and they can see logged in content, but no one outside of that can get into the site. So I think this is a really important thing for a membership site, that you lock that side off.
Can you clarify the site versus the membership site? Because we have the whole school and not everything is membership. We've got courses and different areas for them to check out. And then there will be a subset that is part of the membership. So when you're talking about registering for the site, I guess I'm I'm a little confused what that even means. What does it mean to register for the site?
Right. If you go to, let me just try and show you, because I don't think I've locked the page off. So I'm just going to go to your site as you, oh, I've set the home page up differently. Let me just pick you up.
Is it like creating a school account? Is that sort of what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It's kind of like, yeah, exactly right. It's like your, you know, you people could just sign up, and they might be signing up for, they might be signing up to get entry and see information for free on something. You might want a public registration and people get access to see the blog or something. You know, some people do use it. Personally, I think that's there is a kind of need for it for some people. But when you're looking at the membership site, because you can always turn this back on, Natalie, it's not like it, but it stops people getting in at this point.
right.
We have it a lot, because there's a lot of Facebook users saying, oh, I've got like 100 new registered people coming into my site, and it's basically they're being spammed. So these things are setting up all these fake user accounts, and they're just going in. So they're just abusing it and going through. Obviously, we've got reCAPTCHA, which stops it, but people can just go on and see it. So if I just show you what I mean by going into one of the published pages. Yeah, so let me just share.
So I'm not really interested in having anybody register for my site without
paying,
being a customer.
Yeah.
I only really want people in my roster if they're a paid member. My email newsletter is for people who just want to, you know, hang out and hear from me and decide at some point to buy, but I can't envision the course platform as a place where I want people to, I don't even know what they'd be registering for.
Yeah, well, you know, like I said, some people do. I mean, I think Tracy Browning, she had a thing, she was like, well, I only want people to see my blog if they've registered. So, you know, for her in that case, yeah, that's the perfect scenario. And there'd be like lots of scenarios where it is important for people to have that. So we've given you the ability to do that by default, but we've also given you the ability to turn it off. Now, that doesn't mean that people cannot sign up for your newsletter, because they can, but they just don't use the registration form. What they use is a contact form. You just create your contact form. They then become leads, and you can still send emails to them, newsletters. So it doesn't stop people getting in. If you still want to open up parts, you can. I mean, if you look at the homepage as we've got it at the moment, which is just this, it's just a form that we did in the Zen pop-up. If they put their name in there, their email, and then they join the club, they then will come in as leads, but they cannot, if as leads, they cannot see logged in content. You can only see logged in content if you're a registered user. And that's why I turn off the registration. So if I go to sign in, this is what you'll get, the login page or the register page. And if I turn that off and put in a form like this, then it means they don't come in as students, they come in as leads. So I'm going to do the video on that and show you, and you'll actually see it makes sense when you start filling it out. You'll understand what I mean. But that's why we do it. So it locks that off. Like I said, some people want that, but it doesn't stop you. You can create as many forms in the site as you like. So anyone that's filling a form out, or if they go into a marketing funnel, as soon as they sign up or opt in for a marketing funnel, they then become a lead. So that lead you can do with what you want. You know, you can say, right, sign up for my weekly newsletter. That's what they sign up for, become a lead. And then you convert them into a member or to buy something from you. Or you might invite them to come into a live to talk about what you get as a member to your platform, you know. So it's just that conversion. But what I don't like is people being able to just not pay anything and see logged in content, because you might want to show that logged in content to members. Why should someone come in and get that free? You can offer freebies to people, send them through a marketing funnel, give them free videos, invite them to a live. You're able to do everything you could do with a registered user. You're just stopping that part of it. So they're only ever coming in as leads. But I'll show that on the video. Don't worry if it's like, well, it should be okay.
All right.
All right. Is there anything else you want to discuss at this stage with the site?
I'm just looking forward to seeing the next steps. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So we're in this this pop-up. What will happen is I will be doing a Zen pop-up. So I'll be doing a build. It's going to probably be pre-recorded, and I'll be asking Natalie questions as I'm going. So as things start to build up, she'll look at it, say, yeah, I like that, I want to change things. Then she can go in and she can change all those things, put some content in there. So next time we come, what I want to do is I want the whole site built. So we're going to go with it quite quickly now we've got this stuff in place. So I'm going to just make this header look good, finish it off, get the approval from Natalie, and I'm going to ripple through all the rest of the pages. And we're going to show it all inside the pre-recorded content. And that should be good. Then we will have done the site. So then by that stage, the courses will have come in and we can start setting up the first membership area. Once I've done that, Natalie will know how to do it. So will you guys. And she will repeat the same thing for the two other areas. And then we're ready to test. So, you know, we're ready to test at that stage. By the way, what I didn't say to you is Natalie's got a community group on Circle, haven't you?
I do, yeah.
So that is a major concern to Natalie for that to work in the system. So what I didn't say to you was Natalie sent me that code because she was embedding the community into one of the pages. We were testing it to see if it works. So I was working on a little bit of code. There was a couple of bits of changes to be done in there. We will be showing you, we'll be blurring some, it will be pre-recorded, but we'll be showing you that embedded in there. So that's been set up. So there's other things that are going on, but if that didn't work, right, if that one thing didn't work, Natalie would be like, right, I'm not using Zenler. You know, because that's such an important part, because if that can't be put into there, we'd have to think of a way around it so that it works with the community. Now, what we wanted to do is embed it in the site, which we've managed to do. The other alternatives to that would be we'd link to it. So we'd link into the community and they would jump back and forwards that way. So that has also been done as well. That's something that we didn't mention, but that's something that's been done. So when we get to that and say there's community in there, it's a circle, don't say we didn't tell you that we did it. All right. So that's it, I think. Anything else, Natalie, or are we okay?
I'm just going to put a pin in this as we move forward, but I'll be curious to see how some of these features translate to the app version. So something I've experienced on some of my other platforms is the app doesn't do everything that the browser doesn't do things exactly the same way that the browser version does. So in particular with the Circle integration, I'll be curious to also see when somebody opens it up in the app version, does it play nice still? Because I've had that experience where a bunch of things actually features don't transfer over, and then I'm left wondering, oh, should I even tell people to use the app? Because when they're in the app, they might not be able to do this, so just keep them on the browser. So that's something I'll want to make sure we test.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that was another thing that Natalie was mentioning. Again, this was another thing, a key thing was the audio, like, you know, because selling audio or having audio files in there, how are we going to do that? How does that work? And I got a message on the Facebook group saying audio gets cut off. So if someone's playing a meditation session, then if the screen cuts off or it turns itself to sleep, what would happen is the audio would cut off. So this was reported to Rakesh, and Rakesh told me, and I saw the update come on my phone actually a few days ago saying update audio issue fixed. So we've now fixed that issue with it cutting off. You know, when the screen goes black, it's still going to carry on the music. So the the media, the podcast, whatever, will still carry on playing. So that's been sorted. That we are adding things all the time. I know people have mentioned, oh, you can't run lives in the app and those sort of things. We've got the video in there. I think embedding, I'm pretty sure that embedding will work because it's basically just text. It's just bringing in from the browser. So I'll have a look at that because that's of concern, but we are adding things to the app all the time. And I think I'm a bit like you, Natalie. It's like with my customers, I haven't sent them to the app because there's things that I want to work first before I do that. And there's actually, you know, with my particular, because I've got a lot of communities and things are linking, and it's linking in the course access page, and it shows the curriculum page, and a lot of my content is in the course access, so they don't see anything, and there's links in there that link back and forwards. So it would be really stupid if I sent people to the app because they'd miss out on some of the downloads and things. So yeah, so I think you have to be careful with it. I think that your community will work inside there. And who knows, by the time we finish this build, maybe we will have launched the new community. Who knows? And you might just say, oh, I'll use that. I'm not saying anything, whether it will happen or not yet, but it might. So, yeah. So great. That's a great question as well. Yeah. Like I said, Natalie, if you have any questions, like even in the week, just jot them down on a bit of paper. Because if something comes in your head and you think, because I know it's really early in the morning for you, isn't it? Yeah. It's like 3 o'clock here. So I think it's 7 a.m.
Yeah, 7:40.
Too early. All right, brilliant. All right, so I'm going to say bye now. So lovely to have you on, Natalie. I'm just going to end the Zen pop-up. Hopefully we'll see you next week. I'm going to get on and just get all these pages bashed in, and Natalie will prove next week, and then we can start. Hopefully the courses will be in there. We can show how they've come across. So see you guys again. See you soon. Bye. Right, lovely. Thank you, Natalie. That's great. So we're off air now.
Yeah.